Now, the problem that we face is that that ship that's in low orbit has space superiority, which means it can pretty much attack us at will, and there's not much we can do back to it. There's always a chance that this is just some kind of misunderstanding, so I'll try to communicate with them before things escalate any further. I'd rather not be the first human being in history that started a war with an alien species. This is Robertson, commander of the Red Mountain Independent Terran Exploration Base, to the unidentified vessel in orbit. We request that you cease fire immediately. We are not hostile and wish to discuss terms. Please respond. Over. I say again, this is Commander Robertson of the Red Mountain Base to the unknown vessel in orbit. We request that you cease fire. We are here on a peaceful mission and mean you no harm. Do you understand? No reply. Well, I didn't expect there to be. They probably don't even understand what I'm saying. Either that or they just don't care. Either way, I need to make some preparations, just in case they do decide to come down here and attack us directly. Ben, any change with regards to that unknown vessel in orbit?
Yes, Commander. The unknown vessel has moved position by 500 meters after the last attack, but has held its position again for the last 10 minutes.
Copy that, Ben. Well, that is interesting. I wonder what they're up to. Anyway, I guess it's time to prepare for battle. And the first thing I need to do is convert the Skyhawk into a Thunderhawk, which means adding this Gatling turret to the front and adding some missile launchers to it as well. I am hoping that those aliens do try to communicate with me, but at least this way, if they do try to attack us with fighters or drones, then at least I can use this along with the base's defences to try and help protect ourselves. It is strange that the aliens used the method they did to attack us. I would have expected a tactical nuke or some kind of high-power energy weapon, but warheads and merge blocks, that's a very old-fashioned and primitive method of bombarding a planetary target. The last time I saw a technique like that being used, it was back at the beginning of the last war when the Russians and Chinese tried to bomb our colony on Mars. And the only reason why they did that was because they knew that Mars was not particularly well defended, so they wanted to save up their best weapons for when the USAC reinforcements arrived. Unfortunately, I don't really understand why the aliens are using this method of attack. Maybe they just don't consider me that much of a threat to use real weapons against. Now there's a comforting thought. Anyway, let's get this Gatling gun added to this ship's toolbar. 420 rounds. With the rate of fire on that 3-barrel Gatling gun, that should do me for at least 1 or 2 engagements, so that should be fine. What I will need to do now is add the rocket launchers. Just need some metal grids and that'll be the second one complete as well. And it's done. Right, I'll just change the colour, then I'll go and get some ammo for these things. I think I actually prefer the original colour. What the hell, I'll leave it for now. I've only got 3 missiles left. Okay, let's see what it takes to build new ones. Now, here's where we run into our first problem. These things need platinum. Damn it. Building any more missiles in future is going to be extremely difficult because we've not found any ore veins of platinum on this world. The only way of obtaining it is using gravel in the industrial centrifuge, and that takes too long. On a positive note, we do have a source of magnesium here, so at least we can make ammo for the Gatling turrets. Having a shortage of missiles will make us more vulnerable to attack, so we'll have to research alternatives. Ben, is it possible
Warning, Commander Robertson. I am detecting more objects that have just broken off from the unknown vessel in low orbit.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Trajectory to the space.
Copy that. On my way. Well, so much for my attempts at trying to communicate. Okay, let's see what we've got. Damn, that looks more than last time. I'll try getting a visual using the camera. Wait a second, those look different. Longer. Ben, what's your analysis?
Commander, I am detecting explosive devices, but there also appears to be something attached to them that is interfering with the defense turret's ability to track them effectively.
Decoys? Oh crap. With those decoys attached, there's no way those turrets can cope. I'll have to go out there and take some of those out personally. This is like the siege of my asteroid base all over again. Oh, come on, don't jam on me now. Unlike the automated defences, I won't be distracted by the decoys. I can use the Gatling gun on this Thunderhawk to take out the warheads. I'm not entirely sure what the blast radius of these things are, so I'll have to make sure I don't get too close. Otherwise I risk blowing myself up too. Okay, let's do this. I'll try to intercept the ones that are closest to the base first. The turrets can deal with the rest. Activating crosshairs. Engaging. That's one down. Just a few more should do it. Whoa, getting a little close there. As far as I can tell, that's all the ones that were an immediate threat to the base taken care of. The turret should be able to deal with the rest. Yeah, those ones are miles away. We don't have to worry about them. Benson, report.
Commander, I am pleased to report that all warheads have been successfully intercepted, both by you and the base's defenses.
Copy that. There was quite a large dispersion, and it looks as though only a few of them would have actually hit, but it was worth taking them all out just to be on the safe side. Regardless, we can't keep on doing this every time that bastard up there decides he's going to bomb us. We need to find some way of striking back. The problem is we don't have that many thruster components and we don't have the platinum to build more. Besides, that ship is probably well defended, so sending a lone fighter against it would be suicide. There is, however, one alternative. It's a bit of a long shot and I don't know if it's going to work, but if it does, then our alien friend up there with the warhead fixation is about to get the biggest surprise of his life. Ben, show me the details of that chemical rocket that we salvaged from that alien ship, please.
As you wish, Commander.
That's the one. I read some of the findings we had on it a few nights ago. Apparently this thing is about 33% more efficient than the best rocket engine we've got back on Earth. My question is, Ben, can we use this design to work using liquid hydrogen and liquid oxygen, like the jetpack on my spacesuit, and the RS-68 that we used to use back in the old Delta IV rockets?
Yes, Commander. LOX and LH2, liquid fuel, would be extremely compatible with the design of thruster. Would you like me to add it to your build menu?
Yes, please, Ben. I certainly would. Hydrogen thruster. Perfect. Thanks, Ben. And best of all, it doesn't need exotic components to build either. Which means that it shouldn't take me too long to build this wonderful gift that I've got for our alien visitor. Now the first thing I want to do is build a small ship version of a large hydrogen thruster. No, a little bit bigger than that one, I think. Yeah, that'll do. I'd better place it on the blast door blocks to begin with. If it takes up too much space, I'll just move it later. There we go. I'll try building it here and see how I get on. That'll do for the moment. The next thing I'll add is a hydrogen fuel tank. I'll probably add 2 to this one just to make sure that it's got more than enough fuel. That's if I can find the hydrogen fuel tank, of course. Oh, I'll just search for it, it's easier. I need steel plates. Of course I do. That shouldn't be a problem, I've got lots of those. That's the 2 hydrogen tanks complete. What I will add next is an oxygen generator at the top. What I'm planning on doing is sticking ice directly into it once it's powered, and if all goes according to plan, it should process it into hydrogen fuel. I hope. Ben, what's happening with that hostile vessel in low orbit? Is it still maintaining the same position?
Affirmative, Commander. It adjusted its position, this time by 200 meters, shortly after the last attack, but it has maintained the same position ever since.
Yeah, I'm guessing that after each attack, they're adjusting their position to try and hit our base more accurately the next time, as well as reloading those warheads onto the merge blocks. Which actually works to our advantage, as my plan has a higher chance of success if they stay in the exact same position between each attack. I'm not liking the fact that this thing's starting to wobble around so much. At least the hydrogen tank's almost complete. Yeah, that's at risk of falling over. I'm going to have to add some legs to stabilise it. That's the first hydrogen tank complete, but I really need to pick up the pace if I'm to get this completed before the next attack begins. I don't want to take the chance that one of those warheads could destroy this before it's completed. Which, if all goes well, shouldn't take me any longer than another 10 or 15 minutes. I reckon this thing is more than half complete at this stage. All it's left to do is load the ice into it. And, to facilitate this, I've added a temporary cargo container. And as I hoped, it's pulling it straight into the oxygen generator and converting it into hydrogen. There we are, it's filling up slowly. I reckon maybe another 4 or 5 trips and that should be enough to fill it up. There we go, my creation is almost complete. All it needs now is the final touch. Some warheads of my very own, just to make my rudimentary anti-ship missile complete. The missile itself is already an effective kinetic penetrator, but these warheads will help give it a little extra kick once it hits its target. What I am hoping for at this stage is that I don't run out of magnesium before I'm finished completing all the explosives for the warheads. And unfortunately, it is beginning to run low. But hey, I can't complain. None of the components I've needed so far have required platinum, so that's a good thing. And that's the last warhead finished. Nice. What I will need to do is change the colour. I don't know what kind of sensors the aliens are using, but right now that's a bit too bright and easy to spot. Ah, there we are, olive drab. That's much better. I am a little concerned about how close this thruster is to the connector there. I'm not sure how much damage this thing will do once the engine comes online, but I would prefer it if it was just a little bit further away from it. And it might be worth moving it away from the side of the base slightly as well. And, as fate would have it, I have a powerful craft available at my disposal that can pick up the missile and move it around. Preferably without blowing everything up. I'll just move this back, slowly and carefully. I've just realised this thing looks like a damn Christmas tree. In fact, that's what I should call this thing. The Christmas Tree Surface to Orbit Missile. Great, it went clang instead of boom, and that's always a good thing when you're dealing with explosives. Now let's move the drill ship away slightly. Yeah, that's a lot better. I don't mind losing a few catwalks, they're a lot easier to replace than that connector. Now, let's get this drill ship back to its connector port again. Hitting a vessel in orbit is quite difficult, even a stationary one in low orbit. So, I've added a timer block and also a programmable block that contains the old guided missile software that was originally created by Dr. Alysius back on Earth. As I mentioned earlier, it's a bit of a long shot, but at least it gives us the chance to strike back. Ben, has that hostile vessel in orbit moved position since we last tracked it?
Negative, Commander. The hostile vessel, in low orbit, has continued to hold position.
Good, that's what I'm counting on. Right now they're probably loading up with more warheads, and that will be their undoing. Initiating launch procedures. I'll just copy the vessel's GPS coordinates and paste them onto the targeting computer here. This is just to point the missile in the right direction. Once it gets close enough, it'll start to track them automatically. Setting countdown for 20 seconds on my mark. Mark. Main engine fuel pumps activated. And finally, deactivating the antenna. Hopefully that should make the missile slightly harder to detect. Right, time to send in the good news. Main engine ignition in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, ignition. We have liftoff, Ben.
Acknowledged, Commander. Estimated time to impact is T-minus 2 minutes and 25 seconds.
Yeah, Merry Christmas, you alien bastards. I've got a present for you. Something tells me I don't think those aliens are going to appreciate that Christmas tree I've just sent them. But, saying that, we don't know what kind of sensors they've got up there. If they manage to detect it before it gets close, then they might have enough time to move out the way before it starts tracking them. It could still miss. But at least we can say that we tried. And at the very least, once they know that we can shoot back, it might be enough to scare them away. It's not accelerating particularly quickly at the moment because it's having to fight against both this planet's gravity and the drag from its atmosphere, but once it leaves the atmosphere, it'll only get faster. We're about to lose sight of it now as it disappears into the upper cloud layers, so it should start to build up speed shortly. I have to admit, I am a little worried that those aliens will launch more warheads before the missile has a chance to hit. If that happens, then the missile will do a lot less damage, as I was hoping some of the warheads attached to the alien ship would detonate upon impact, compounding the damage. Furthermore, there's always the chance that one of the falling warheads might hit the missile on the way up, destroying it before it gets anywhere near the ship.
T-minus 1 minute to impact.
Copy that, Ben. It's not all doom and gloom, though. Even if it drops more warheads, we might have a chance, because that ship is not only sitting in low orbit, it's holding position in a geosynchronous orbit, so its engines must be working overtime just to keep it there. If the missile manages to get through the warheads and take out one or two of its thrusters, or disable its power plant, then the ship will just simply fall out of the sky like a rock. Preferably not over our base, of course.
T-minus 30 seconds to impact.
Here we go, it'll be getting close now. Ben, is the enemy vessel showing any signs of changing position?
Negative, Commander.
Good, and I'm not seeing any warheads either. This might just work.
T-minus 10 seconds to impact.
Here we go. It's all or nothing. 3, 2, 1, impact. Here's hoping. Ah, that looks like debris. Benson, analysis, is that debris I'm seeing on the scanner?
Affirmative, Commander. I am detecting a significant amount of smaller objects moving outwards from the location of the hostile vessel. This would be consistent of the debris caused by a large explosion in low orbit.
Ah, brilliant. That's excellent news, Ben. Yeah, not so tough now, are we, you alien bastards? And that, I'm guessing, was the shockwave. I really do hope I haven't started a war with some massive extraterrestrial empire. But saying that, I would like to state for the record, and in my defence, that E.T. shot first. And I have no regrets whatsoever, despite launching a missile at a ship that blew the son of a bitch straight to hell. Actually, I do have one regret, and that's that the debris that's coming down from what's left of the ship might cause damage to my nice shiny new base. I wonder if it's close enough to see using the cameras yet. Yep, I can just barely see the burning pieces of debris coming down. I'm not sure whether they're going to hit me or not. It's hard to tell at this distance. I'm very keen to examine the debris once it comes down. Or rather, what's left of it once it does come down. Well, that's the excitement over for the moment. I might as well head downstairs and wait for the debris to come crashing down. If I'm lucky, there might actually be something worthwhile to salvage from that alien ship. I guess we'll just have to wait and see. It looks like most of the wreckage is going to miss the base. It seems to all be coming down to the northwest in that stone lake over there. I'll still have to be careful though, just in case some fragments do rain down over here. I'm still not sure how much of that's going to be left intact after it hits the ground. And here come the larger pieces of the wreckage. They're still on fire after re-entering the atmosphere. I hope they don't make too much of a mess. Ben, I'm taking the Thunderhawk out to where the wreckage is coming down to see if there's anything I can salvage. I'm not sure if that was the only alien vessel out there, so if anything else does come into orbit, let me know immediately.
As you wish, Commander, but I would advise extreme caution while you are outside, as there may still be debris coming down that could damage your craft or cause injury.
I hear you, Ben. Don't worry, I'll try to watch the skies and be as careful as I can. While I'm out here, Ben, I've got a small project for you to work on. Using missile launchers aren't an option until we secure a more reliable source of platinum, so we need an alternative. Back when I was younger, there was a classified project called Marauder, and later the USAC worked on another one called Prometheus. Both were research into plasma-based weaponry. The main issue we had back then was the energy requirements and keeping the plasma contained long enough to be a viable energy projectile. But now that we have artificial gravity generators, more powerful and compact reactors, as well as knowledge of those powerful alien capacitors, we could get the pulse compression technology to work, so it might be worth looking into it again. If you're comfortable with the fundamentals, Ben, would you be able to take a look into it and see if we can create anything along the lines of a plasma pulse cannon that we can use to defend the base?
Yes, Commander. Even though my data on that type of technology is limited, I shall see what I can do.
Excellent. Thanks, Ben. And while Ben is researching all that, I'm going to investigate the wreckage of this alien craft. I can't help but notice that this alien vessel looks a little bit different from the ones we've encountered so far. This one's all coloured in bright reds, yellows and greys rather than black or purple. Even the armour plating looks different. Maybe it's just a different design. These all look like older style light armor plates. That's weird. And that looks like wreckage of heavy armor plates over there. Just quickly check for debris. Nope, that's cool. I mean, check these out, even these engines look familiar. They're just like the MPD thrusters we had back on the Pristinium and Icarus, just a little more advanced. Maybe it's just the wreckage, but the ship so far just looks a little old-fashioned. Of course, maybe there's a more obvious explanation for it, such as this ship belongs to a different sect among the aliens we've encountered, or maybe something happened in their past that made them have to take a step back with regards to design and technology. It does make sense that most spacefaring civilizations out there would follow a similar line of technology, so maybe it's no coincidence that I'm finding so many similarities. It is strange and a little unsettling seeing an alien vessel like this. I mean, this ship could almost pass for one of ours. Anyway, I'm heading back to the Thunderhawk and returning to base. Apart from those thrusters, there's nothing I found worth salvaging out here. I'll probably come back later on with the drill ship. I'll need its larger cargo container to store all the components once I start stripping them down. In the meantime, I need to prepare our defences in case we get attacked again. And there's still debris raining down after all this time. In fact, I'm surprised about how widely dispersed all this wreckage is. It must have been one hell of an explosion up there to send everything flying like that. Sadly, it's made a mess of my picturesque stone lake over there. Oh well. Okay, let's try and land this thing as smoothly as I can. Ben, has there been any progress on that project I asked you to look into earlier?
Yes, Commander. I have had some limited success with creating a rudimentary plasma pulse turret. Would you like to review the findings thus far?
That was quick. Yeah, sure, Ben, just give me a few seconds. That'll do it, I reckon. Okay, Ben, let's see what you've got for me. Well, it looks interesting. How does it work, Ben?
Commander, the weapon is a simple and effective concept. High-temperature plasma is accumulated in a containment chamber inside the weapon. Once the necessary plasma charge is accumulated, the bolt itself is compressed to allow the maintenance of concentration for a given time. It is then released in the barrel of the weapon and accelerated by electromagnetic fields. The energy accumulated in the bolt is impressive, and until the bolt begins to decay and dissipate, it is able to inflict substantial damage.
While I only understood half of what you just said there, Ben, it certainly sounds impressive. Well, let's test this thing out.
Commander, I've now added the prototype plasma turret to your build menu.
Acknowledged, Ben. I've cleared the hangar bay in preparation for building the prototype, so we should have enough space. I'll just select it from the build menu and add it to my toolbar. And just plonk it down in a relatively centralised location here. Okay, that's the turret complete. I reckon it's time to build a target for it, and for that I'm going to need some steel plates. I just need to place this within the turret's line of sight, and try not to obscure it behind the hangar doors. Now apparently the plasma bolts are slightly explosive, so I'll make this a little higher up and make it cross-shaped. Why not? Sorted. Yep, that'll do perfectly. Here we go, beginning the very first test of the prototype plasma pulse turret. I will just select the firing mechanism and send 4 shots downrange into the target. Fire in the hole! Whoa, I didn't expect it to be that powerful. Shit. Ah, now. Well, apart from blowing a hole in my own platform, I would have to say this has been a successful firing test. Let's get these built. Right, that should be the last set of components, and hopefully these things will be complete. Brilliant. Let's check them out. You know what, that actually looks okay, and best of all, these things...
Warning, Commander Robertson. I am detecting 2 large vessels approaching the base from the north. Distance is 10 kilometers and closing.
Ah, what now? Copy that, Ben. I'm on my way to the command center now. This better not be another attack by those aliens. I'm getting a little tired of this now. Alright, let's see what we've got. Oh, hang on, these things look like they're in the atmosphere. And they're coming through that mountain pass over there to the north. Right, let's take a look at them. What do you know? It looks like our black triangular friends have reappeared. I'm guessing they've come to retaliate for me taking out that ship they had in orbit. Well, in that case, it's time to go to Red Alert and activate the defense grid. Well, you buggers, you're about to find out that I've upgraded my defences significantly since the last time we met. It looks like they're advancing very, very slowly. They're probably deciding how best to attack this base.
Warning, Commander. I am detecting a 3rd vessel approaching from the north and closing in on the 2 we've already detected.
Copy that, Ben. That doesn't really surprise me, as we saw 3 triangular ships next to the pyramid initially. I'm not seeing it though, so it must be quite a ways behind the other 2. Ah, never mind, I can see it now. Oh, wait a second, that 3rd ship looks completely different. And it's a lot bigger. What the hell is that thing? Okay, Ben, same as last time. Flag all unknown ships as hostile.
Acknowledged.
It looks as though they're forming up about 1 kilometre north of our base, just above that stone lake. I'm not sure what they're planning to do, but I strongly suspect that they're getting into position to attack. But what's really worrying me is that these things now appear to be more substantially armed, and that one over there is actually flickering like it's got some kind of energy field around it. If these aliens do decide to attack, then we could be in for one hell of a fight. Ben, what's your analysis of the unknown vessels?
Commander, all the unknown vessels now appear to be armed with a form of weapon I am unable to identify. And as you have already observed, the vessels also appear to be equipped with a type of energy field, the exact purpose of which is currently unknown at this time.
Copy that, Ben. What about the vessels themselves? Can you tell me anything about their internal components, or even the type of armour they're using?
Negative, Commander. Unfortunately, our sensors are unable to scan the unknown vessels. Even our radar had trouble tracking them until they were within 10 kilometers of our base.
That's okay, I was kind of expecting that. Either their outer shell is made out of some kind of radar-absorbent material, or those energy fields they've got are disrupting our sensors. But that's no surprise given how advanced they are. They don't look anything like the ship we destroyed in orbit, but I'm guessing they were holding these more advanced ones back in reserve until they really needed them. But now it looks like they're finally showing their hand. It's been several minutes, and those ships have just held their position over that stone lake. They've not moved, and they've not attacked. Are they analysing my defences? Trying to find a weakness they can exploit? Come on, aliens. What is it that you're waiting for?